Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named JC++, titled I Can See Through Time. And if we switch over to here, we have the track on the screen on SoundCloud. We've got an interesting album out here. There's some clouds with like a rainbow or like a vortex or something like that. We've got some text here. Okay, I know I said the previous track was my favorite track so far, but it turns out I like this one even better. As usual, I sprinkled a general helping of ghosts and robotic vocal effects throughout, but it is definitely the sexy female lead and blended harmonies that give it an irreplicable emotional punch. The track title is a Simpsons reference, but I feel like the lyrics match it quite nicely. Personally, the goosebumps kick in for me at the second drop around 240. So it's kind of nice to have a guide to the track as we go through. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Oh, it is dance and EDM, to be fair. I missed the hashtag. But that slickness of that build there. Oh, there are some ghostly kind of synths here. The cyberpunk future vibe, I dig it. Sorry to interrupt the vibe of this, the general sort of switch of it. Damn, man. Damn, dude. I listened through this track and I think, how could you possibly improve that production? I mean, the vocals sound nice and present in the mix. I like how they swirl around. The kicks are side-chaining that bass and the synth parts nicely. There's little bits of articulation and like da-da-da-da, those cascading melodies there occasionally. There's nice tails on the melodies. Oh yeah, there's some little plucks in there as well that are nice and subtle. Suddenly the rain has wiped away the dust from my eyes. So I suppose someone can finally see the truth for what it is, or the future. I can see through time, you know, look ahead, predict what's going to come next. I adore it. I adore this track from the bottom of my heart, man. I listen to this and I think just that dynamic range there, just coming down like that. The change of perceived loudness. I'm liking the main theme, but it's also good to strip away some of those more intense parts and just hear the vocals on their own. I like the fact that we're having these vocal updos here as well. You can see I was just nodding my head there. That was my subconscious response to the groove of this. The quarter notes say just keep going, but it's nice to have that vocal focus here. You know, we've already articulated that we understand our music theory and composition. We've already articulated that we know how to pick synths and other layers within a mix that go well with each other. A little bit of filtering and oscillation on those vocals as well there. Interesting use of a sequencer here, going up step. Okay. Go, smart move. I thought we were going to loop back down. I was like, no, we need to keep ascending. You've given us some hope here, man. We got another drop on the way. I mean, we do. We got the spoiler at the description, but that's okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, good job. Good job with that bass line. I reckon you could have gone for the boom boom. I think this song is in the key of F minor. You could have potentially done like an E diminished arpeggio there, and it would have added a little bit more tension in that part there between the repetitions. But it's okay if we want to have a cleaner harmony, you know? It might have been a bit too spicy, especially with the vocals. Yeah, no, great reverb chain at the end there. It's nice how everything sort of fades out and glistens for a bit before returning to null. Okay, alright. Because this is my conclusion for this review of I Can See Through Time by JC++. What do I think this track is about? I mean, as I said, I think the parts that I could get here, there was like talk of like someone being the back of a person's mind. And then I suppose seeing clearly is understanding that maybe the person's not really over them or something like that, or they're not really, things aren't as they seem and they see the truth. I think that's what the track is about. It's about having clarity, you know, having perspective in life. And I think that the vocal performance there kind of matched that quite well emotionally. I think that her singing, it sounded like she could relate to what she was singing about. I think that, you know, it was kind of a soothing kind of performance there. It was someone coming to terms with it, and it wasn't necessarily melancholic or bittersweet. It was more like somber. It contrasted well with the energy of all the synth parts and the sequences and the bass and the drums and little kind of other concepts going on in the accompaniment, but not too much, as they were blended really nicely, and there was additional vocal effects kind of rounded it out. But I mean, the competent vocal performance, there wasn't a huge amount of articulation or ornamentation going on. We didn't do like massive legato runs or any of that kind of stuff. We didn't need to. We were telling a story to the listener, and I think it worked. The actual structure of the track, I think we had like what was practically a three-parter. We had the first intro bit, the introduction of the theme with some vocals, a bit of a verse to sort of clarify stuff, and then the middle section was us sort of coming down to earth and realizing and reaffirming the truth of the matter. And I think that the last part was obviously where it dropped, and you had a big outro section where it was a conclusion for that, and we learned something from the experience, and we were better off for it. From at least from what I understand. And I think that was a clever way of doing it. We didn't have massive adjustments in the actual bass line or the chord progressions there. We kept the similar theme throughout, but I think that was okay. There was enough change in the vocals and some of the overlying instrumentation to be able to maintain an interest. I think that we clearly understand how to fit different textures together, and obviously a lot is to be said positively of the production, but I think just from an arrangement and performance perspective, there's obviously no out of place there. I liked most of the decisions that were made with the harmonies. Like, again, I would have preferred, personally, subjectively, I would have preferred there to be like that E dim, the fifth dim, to going into that minor. But that's okay. That's all right. That's just differences between us. It doesn't mean that I dislike it. I think it's great. And sometimes you kind of don't want to overwhelm the listener by having too much of a spicy transition at the end of each time. Sometimes you just want to be smoother, especially in genres where it's sort of more like about the chord note groove and not sort of screwing with it too much. So that's absolutely fine. I see, there was this misty kind of sound to it. It's like we're inside our own head and trying to figure stuff out. And again, that does come down to the production, but I have to, admit and voice the fact that I think the instruments, that obviously like there was some punchy sort of kicks, and the drum kit was fantastic. And that little sort of snare filler before that last drop was poignant. Although it did quite overwhelm the rest of it, but not in the way that was necessarily bad. It was just, it did what it was supposed to do with that big snare fill build before the drop in a lot of these types of songs. It ticked the boxes is what I'm basically saying, but it also offered a little more, and I appreciate that. I'm glad I got more of a story from this one. Well done to JC++ for that. I think that The actual, yeah, and before going to the production, just the attention to detail with the call and responses between the various instruments, really elegantly dressed up the insistence of the consistency of that theme. There was like a 4-chord progression, and even though this track was 3 minutes 50, it never felt dull or overdone. There was great range there and great change, and well done. The production, recording, mixing, mastering was splendid. Great tone to the actual vocal performance there. There were lots of different effects put on them. Like there were little bits of ornamentation with the panning and stuff, maybe some reverb and delay, little bits of like extra like frequency filtering and stuff like that. Maybe like a flanger or like a phaser or something like that at some points. Well, not necessarily, but you know, there was some EQ messing around going in there. And I think that allowed the different vocal parts to sort of have their own place in the mix, because if you treat one differently than the other, you can hear both at the same time without them melding together. I think that was really special. I think that was a really smart idea. The leveling of the various instruments in the mix was great. You know, the drums, bass, synths, everything else going on with the vocals and the backing parts was excellent. I really don't think we needed to do more with that. The cueing and effects change, like the kick was sidechaining everything really well. It was nice and wide in the mix, you know, great use of panning, especially with the vocals going backwards and forwards and stuff like that, and the other instruments. It was really lush sounding and full and thick, and I have a lot of love for that. The actual sort of stacking and gluing of stuff in the mix was great as well. No weird resonances in the frequency spectrum. Aside from that snare build just before the drop, it sounded like there was a lot of mid stuff going on there, but maybe that was a deliberate decision just to build tension, and so that's fine. The limiting compression was well done. You know, it was nice and loud without pumping too much. I liked when we came down in that second part there, just had the vocals and like the drums or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, you know. Yeah, like the hi-hats and stuff like that, along with like some of the overdubs and like the synth backing. Yeah, great track from JC++, and that is effectively my review of JC++ I Can See Through Time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show JC++ some love via their various social medias and their SoundCloud page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.